I am the CEO.
I am an entrepreneur.
I am a middle-class worker.
And I am a financial advisor for Obama's administration, and each one of these people has been affected by the excessive spending of our military.
I work for Lockheed Martin. I make $25 million a year, and our company profits most from U.S. military weapons production.
The company is starting a green energy project, but the government won't fund us for research.
I'm a single mother working 2 jobs trying to support a family. I earn about $50,000 a year, yet I struggle every month to pay the rent.
We spend $700 billion a year on our military. Imagine if we just took a small part of that and put it into other areas. That would not only help the wealth gap, but more importantly, the middle class. I started working for Obama after about a year into his first term. I worked closely with Obama for the next few years and even had a drink with him once. He had a horrible economy at the time, and he trusted me to find out what's wrong. I looked high and low to find the problem, and eventually I did. Our problem was the military. After looking at the data, I found that we had spent more on our military overall than Russia, China, and France combined. I presented my findings to Obama, and he was bamboozled to discover this. Overall, we were spending about $600 billion in military spending. I asked myself at that moment, how much do we actually need, and how much of it is actually being effectively used? I took the 3 people you saw earlier and asked them what they thought of our military. Thank you for joining me today, ladies and gentlemen. I just have a few questions to ask you. Do you think that our military spending is too much?
Yes.
No, I think that we need it.
How much money do we actually spend on the military?
We spend $700 billion per year.
$700 billion.
Wow, that's a lot. I think definitely could get cut back in some areas. For sure.
Well, how would you cut back on our spending?
Maybe by like a quarter or a half.
Half. 700 billion, half for sure.
Okay, half.
Well, that sounds like a solid idea, because if we were to cut back our military budget in half, we would still be the leading power in the world.
Then why don't we do it?
Perfect plan.
How would you distribute the money?
I would love if the money could be distributed by giving it to my project for green energy and for scientific research.
I think the money should be distributed into healthcare and education.
I think money should go to increasing military income and supporting veterans hospitals.
And imagine if we combine all of these ideas and also put in public transportation and investments in small businesses. Imagine what it could do for not only the middle class, but for the wealth gap as well. Here's the plan. If we cut our budget in half for the military, we would still be the leading military power of the world. So, here's how we would cut the budget. $100 billion in destroying ammo, $200 billion in air conditioning, $110 billion in operations, $9 billion in missiles/bombs, $200 billion in closing down bases, 150 in the States and 50s overseas, $9 billion in aircraft systems, $40 billion in overseas operations, and $11 billion in shipbuilding. You may be asking yourself, how would we use this new source of money? Well, we would evenly distribute it among these areas, increasing military pay, improved health care, education funding, creating jobs, public transportation, investments in small businesses, investments into green energy, and funding science research. This would help us strengthen the middle class and eventually the overall economy. This would help us create a more stable America and give the American people the tools they need to succeed. Making sure that our veterans are well paid, educating our citizens, and following the rest of the world in public transportation is only one of the few ways we can make America better. Because when you help the middle class, you help everyone in the long run.